this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
Lowe's knows Sundays are for football. So tackle your home improvement projects by Saturday and earn your Sunday with great deals on LG and Bosch appliances, select Bounty and Swiffer cleaning products, and more. Then once your to-do list is done, get ready to kick back, relax, and enjoy the game. Shop in-store or online now and earn your Sunday with help from Lowe's, official partner of the NFL.
You're locked into a lot of things you can't change. Weather, traffic. Hey, stay in your lane! Your wireless carrier's latest price hike. But you can unlock a better way. Unlock the savings at Boost Mobile and save up to $600 a year. Switch to the $25 a month unlimited wireless plan. No contracts, no price hikes, and you keep your phone. Stop being locked into their games. Unlock the savings at boostmobile.com/unlock. Based on average annual single line of payment of AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile customers compared to 12 months on the Boost Mobile unlimited wireless plan as of January 2026. For full offer details, visit boostmobile.com.
Rich, they did it. The New York Knicks are the champions of the basketball world. How you feeling, man?
I have cried so many times since Saturday. Whatever the opposite of doom scrolling is what I've constantly been doing on my phone, soaking in every video, every celebration. Every time I see Cat hug Patrick Ewing, I'm starting to get verklempt now. But just an incredible feeling that I'm sharing with many people of my age, especially Mets, Jets, Knicks fans, who to this point in our lives had never experienced a championship.
Yeah, I just got to say, as someone who's experienced 5 championships in his adult life from his city's teams, welcome to just being a normal fan and having a normal team. I'm JJ, and over the last couple of years, I've been doing everything I can to be a best ball bro. And last season, things finally fell into place. I got 40th in the DraftKings Millie contest, taking home $20,000. Maybe I became a best ball bro, but I'm still looking to learn more about this game. And I still want others to come on this ride with me. So even if you consider me a best ball bro, this could be your year. This could be the year that you officially become a best ball bro. This episode is sponsored by DraftKings. We've partnered up with DraftKings again this year for Best Ball, and we've got a can't-miss offer on their biggest Best Ball contest ever. $20 million in total prizes. It's draft one, get one. Draft your team once, no weekly lineup management, and your top scorers start automatically each week, all season long. Download the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app and sign up with promo code LATEROUND. Enter a lineup in the $20 million Best Ball contest for $25 and get a bonus ticket for a second entry. 2 shots at the title. Draft one, get one, only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Welcome into another episode of Becoming a Best Ball Bro. I'm JJ Zacharyson, joined as always by my New York Knicks loving Rich Ryan. Rich, how's it going, buddy? I mean, I'm sure you're on top of the world right now.
Absolutely. I was just in Vegas. I was in Vegas for games 4 and 5. I don't think I dragged a meaningful pot playing poker that entire time, but you could not wipe the smile off my face regardless because the New York Knicks are NBA champions.
Were you out there when the Canes won the Stanley Cup too?
I had just gotten back. It's so funny. Yeah. Vegas has really turned into a hockey town. Makes sense with all the success that they've had. And yeah, I did not see anyone wearing Knights gear or anything because Carolina had just taken a stranglehold on that series. Yeah. So there was no hockey vibes whatsoever in the city. But yeah, I had a crazy run for them with Torts taking over right before the playoffs and then them somehow finally getting to the cup final. But yeah.
I know people really don't realize. Number one, people don't realize that the Hurricanes don't play in Charlotte. A lot of people think that that live outside North Carolina. They play in Raleigh. And it's Raleigh's only professional team, right? Because Charlotte has the Hornets and the Panthers, and then Raleigh has the Hurricanes. And because I have my immediate family all lives in Raleigh now, and so I'm there all the time. And I live in Charlotte, and I don't think the atmosphere for the Canes is insane because it's right next. The arena is right next to NC State's football stadium, And so, any big football stadium and big program football stadium, usually, especially in because it's an agricultural school, like there's farmland and stuff around. It is downtown Raleigh, like the school is, but there's a lot of land there where people can tailgate and stuff, right? And so Carolina Hurricanes games are in this giant area where there's just so much tailgating going on. And it's their only professional team. So it's a very, very like popular, like backed NHL franchise. The Hurricanes are, and I'm glad, and at least I'm hopeful that people were able to see that. I'm a Penguins fan through and through, but just being in, I've lived in North Carolina for 12 years now. And so like the Canes are kind of like my, if the Penguins don't do it, then I'm happy to see the Canes do it. Jordan Staal winning Conn Smythe is an amazing story. And he started, with the Pens and stuff. And I know that we're talking hockey here and this is a football show, but I gotta shout out, give a little bit of love to those Canes fans out there because they showed up, they showed out. Happy for Rod Brind'Amour. Just a cool story overall.
Sports, man, the ultimate unifying force. Then we're going right into the World Cup now, where little Cape Verde, a small island off of West Africa, draws with Spain yesterday, creating memories that the people from that country and the players on that team will literally never forget.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, like, I just think sport, and not only that, but you're getting all these people coming in from other countries right now. And some of the most viral videos on social media are these people from like Europe and just random countries, outside the United States that are like, wow, the people in the US are actually kind of nice. And the food here is really cool. And like the different dynamics of each state is just super cool. How there's like a completely different world in Arizona compared to Pennsylvania and stuff. And I don't know, it's to me, it's important to lead with this kind of thing, before we get into the more meaningless stuff of best ball and whatnot, because I do think that this is what sports are all about, is bringing people together that wouldn't be brought together otherwise, and really having better perspective on what's going on around you and what this world is really about.
Yeah, touch grass, have a beer with your neighbor, and watch a game. Life's going to be so much better, I promise.
And maybe draft some best ball teams too.
Maybe click some names.
Today we're going to just go through some ADP risers and fallers. We do have a guest that you guys will listen to after we do this. But Rich, kick things off. Let's talk about some risers this week.
Once again, the top two names, repeats from last week, Greg Dulcich and AD Mitchell. They're the biggest risers, almost up a full round, and then up more than half a round are Zachariah Branch, a guy I besmirched last week in George Halani, and Rashad White. So I'll about a half dozen there. I'll let you give your take on some of those.
How do you feel about the AD Mitchell rise? Like, do you think that it's justified? And do you think, we talked about this a little bit last week in the way that this wide receiver room could be deployed and the way that Omar Cooper kind of fits within that room. And my stance has been, even since Omar Cooper was drafted, that I think AD Mitchell still fits like a true X role best in that offense. Is that what Jets Twitter and the Jets world is saying as well?
For sure. The deployment of Omar Cooper seems to be a giant question mark. And it's funny because we're seeing the same thing on the other side of the ball with Pons, where because of his stature, everyone thinks he's going to play inside corner, slot corner, but there's a chance that he plays outside as well. So all eyes are on where Omar Cooper is going to line up as the summer progresses and into preseason. But for now, the way he's built, the speed that he has, his ability to get downfield and create separation, it's going to be AD Mitchell's job to lose at least on the outside. And I think overall, one of the things that people are having a hard time perhaps grasping about the Jets is that when you look at this 15-year playoff drought and you look at their offensive output in terms of literally any major statistic, whether it be EPA or DVOA, they've been so bad. The quarterback position, from a learning Sam Darnold to Zach Wilson to whatever the hell last year was when they were tanking with a UFL quarterback under center. Most teams that are bad, you've done this study many times over, there's going to be some sort of regression when you are so below the mean output. And the Jets have just never been able to get there, right? Because they've never had even a bad quarterback playing. They've just had awful quarterback play. Yeah. Like unimaginable quarterback play. Yeah. So if Geno could just be run-of-the-mill bad, right? Just a bad quarterback, the offensive output for this team is going to far exceed people's expectations.
Yeah, it's true. I still have a hard time with Garrett Wilson, I will say, and clicking his name just because there's so many good wide receivers in that area that I'm not going to, I don't, there's only going to be a couple in that range that I'm going to be like truly overweight on. And then that just means that I'll be a little bit underweight on some others, you know, but situationally, you know, I think Garrett Wilson's a phenomenal player. It's just that like at some point we have to just be realistic about from what he's done from a production standpoint, like a true production standpoint. And I don't want to just keep projecting every year and then it not happen. Right. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's, you know, that's fine. I just think that if there weren't so many good wide receivers going around him, it would be a different story. You know, it'd be a lot easier to be like, yeah, I'll bet on the talent because I think that he's really talented. AD Mitchell, though, I think is a great, because not only that, Mitchell is really conducive to a best ball situation. I talked about this on the late round show. I recorded it just before this one, but it's similar like Brian Thomas, where there's like stories and, you know, things are, but he's actually like a player that you like the Jags in general. I think the wide receivers in general, where I want to get my exposure in best ball, right? But then also we know he's a down the field, big play threat on the outside. And that's how I view AD Mitchell in a much worse situation. And like, I don't think that he has the same ceiling, but AD Mitchell's been like, look, I was one of his biggest haters when he was drafted because people were so obsessed with this dude. And I'm like, his production, his age adjusted production in college is not that good. But I will say that Mitchell he's actually been better than what I expected. Now that he's played in the NFL, per route run, he's been good in the NFL. And so that's the kind of dart throw I want to make when I'm drafting these best ball lineups.
And it's funny too, because, and I don't know how much, I don't think you do this at all, but his teammate score coming in, obviously purely college based, like Xavier Worthy really hasn't lived up to expectation either. So whatever strength was going into that teammate score at Texas, kind of gets dinged a little bit too, because Xavier Worthy hasn't been that guy either in the league. I'll tell you from a fan's perspective, Jets fans are really excited about AD Mitchell. I've got I'm pumping the brakes a little bit because when a good team is okay and a smart team is okay, kind of just like getting rid of an asset like that, my red flag is always up, and the Colts are a very well run organization. But I mean, as a throw in, as a guy that in an awful wide receiver room, right, where we back-to-back years of Malachi Corley and Arian Smith, like he was definitely a sight for sore eyes.
Yeah, I mean, like both of those guys. I remember going on your Jets show last year and being like, Arian Smith is one of the worst wide receiver picks I've ever seen in my life, right? Like legitimately. And Malachi Corley to me was one of the worst wide receiver picks that I've ever seen. Like it's like at least there's some substance to AD Mitchell. So I do like the AD Mitchell rising. I mean, I don't like it for my portfolio, but I like that the market is being pretty smart about it. Greg Dulcich, we've talked about him, really good last season per route run numbers. Zachariah Branch, I can get behind just because I don't think there's some obvious picks late and he's got an opportunity ahead of him. George Holani is interesting. It's, you know, I think that he can play a third down role, which is going to be beneficial on a site like DK. But they've been talking about him splitting like, you know, first team reps and such with Jadarian Price. And I just don't think that George Holani is that kind of player. I remember prospecting him too. I just didn't see him in that way necessarily. I think Emmanuel Wilson fits that role a little bit better, but they're not seemingly using Wilson in that manner. So we just have to kind of roll with what's going on, you know, with the deployment and what we think might, like how they might use these guys. Rachaad White, I think, is a reaction to Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, you know, and stuff going on there, and also some positive coach speak with Rachaad White, and him being just like a reliable pass catcher. I think White is like a very easy click, especially if you go 0 RB. Like just a very easy, don't know if he's going to be a league winner, but I do think that on a full PPR platform, he could do some work and do some damage.
Yeah, and in Washington offense that personally I'm investing in because
I love Terry McLaurin. Yeah. And I just believe in what I saw from Jayden Daniels in year one. Like the throw against Cincinnati, just the way he played in the playoffs. I'm a believer in him, and thus I'm just a believer in this offense as a whole. Yeah, agreed. All right, who else we got rising? Yeah, if we slide down a little, probably the most impactful move, because it's a single-digit round, is Toot Bashal Tutin up 7 spots, going now at pick 55. People are starting to catch on that maybe makes sense. Bashal is the click here. Yeah. You know, we talked about this on the late round show just a couple of minutes ago, but you know, in your podcast feed, it's going to be on Thursday and this is coming out on Wednesday. But with the reports this week about J.K. Dobbins being like almost like getting a contract with Jacksonville and maybe signing with Jacksonville, and that he was their priority like off-season look at running back. And everyone's like, oh, this is bad for Bashal Tutin. And my response is like, no, this is bad for Chris Rodriguez, because if the narrative with Chris Rodriguez is that they were getting him because he's Liam Cohen's guy, is he Liam Cohen's guy if they were looking at J.K. Dobbins instead of Chris Rodriguez? You know, if anything, it makes me feel more bullish about Bashal Tutin. You know, you can still get him at like the 5-6 turn in a lot of drafts, like pretty frequently. You know, obviously his ADP is up more to like the 56 range, like mid 5th round. I think you can draft him as early as the 4-5 turn. Like that, I think that's where his like break even would be, generally speaking. It's just that I think in that area, you're often looking still at some wide receivers and stuff, which is fine. Like Jalen Waddle, I love. But yeah, I mean, I think Tutin deserves to be going there. There's a lot of upside for him. He's apparently been crushing it, so far, you know, in these camps and stuff. And so I am, you know, as I've been saying, all roads lead to Bashal Tutin.
The only other single-digit mover in a positive direction in terms of rounds is Quentin Johnson, up 5.6 spots to 86th in the 8th round, and just the continuing drumbeat of positivity around this Chargers offense.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff about them using Johnston for his yak, which is really important because that's really what he does best. And so, yeah, I mean, I want to be a little bit more overweight than I've been on QJ for sure. Because I think that he could be, you know, everyone's like really high on Ladd, but there's some stuff where, you know, there's a chance he gets steamed up too high through the summer. And then I've been drafting a lot of Trey Harris. I've mentioned that, but that's more so just like he's super cheap and it's a good offense and he could rotate in at times. But QJ is kind of in that middle ground where you're like, should I be getting him right now? I don't know. You know, there's good quarterbacks here. I need to force the issue a little bit more because I do see an outcome where Quentin Johnson has actually a pretty good season.
All right, we'll go to some fallers. You talked about coach speak having a positive impact on a player. Two players who have had a hit because of the other side of the coin are Emmanuel Wilson and Eli Stowers. Wilson specifically running with the threes right now in Seattle. I saw one Yahoo headline was like, do the Seahawks already regret signing Emmanuel Wilson? He's
like, how could you regret signing Emmanuel Wilson? Like, it's the most like inconsequential thing of all time.
$2 million.
You know?
What are we going to do? We gave $2 million to Emmanuel Wilson. He's down 13.5 picks. And then Eli Stowers, who a Philadelphia beat writer was saying he's had a very quiet spring. There was one practice where he was running as the tight end 1, and in this writer's estimation, didn't really do anything. So some cold water on Wilson and Eli Stowers. The latter, I'm not worried about Stowers. I'm not worried about a rookie tight end in shorts in June, but that's just me.
I'm not super worried about it. I mean, Dontavian Wicks on the flip side was a riser on that list. And I think that like I'm actually a little bit more concerned because of cost of Mekhi Lemon right now. When I was drafting Lemon like fairly confidently, and then I started doing some research in the draft guide, like for the draft guide. And then like there's, you know, the Dontavian Wicks reports coming out about him, you know, being their wide receiver 2, at least right now. Look, this is not an indictment on the way that I view Mekhi Lemon. I still think Lemon's a good prospect. And I think that the long-term outlook looks pretty good. I just think that he might end up being more of a late season hammer as opposed to a full season hammer. And in that range where he goes, you probably need a little bit more of that full season points and output from that player. So I've been backing up a little bit on Mekhi Lemon recently, and I just want to throw that out there. It kind of plays into this whole Philadelphia thing. I agree though with Stowers. It's like, I don't know. I think that you're just kind of hoping for like given his cost, you are hoping that he gets late season production and that, you know, maybe there's some injuries and things just fall into place at the right time for a guy like Stowers, but this is still a rookie tight end. There's more of a long-term outlook for these kinds of players, especially with Dallas Goedert still there.
Another tight end who is falling, this one due to an absence, it looks like, during offseason activities, is Cleveland Browns tight end Harold Fannin. This is the only single-digit guy that made our list in the 8th round currently. He dropped half a round. Fannin, amazing rookie season last year, but the market cooling on Fannin.
Yeah, this is probably the only other call out that we need on the fallers list this week. And it's, you know, it's sad because I love Harold Fannin and his mom is great. And it's, you know, we hopefully we get to see Harold Fannin's mom again at the Fantasy Football Expo this year. But
I love that there's people that have no idea.
Yeah, there's some people who have no idea about this, the lore, the Harold Fannon's mom lore. The TLDR is that Kitchen and I met Harold Fannon's mom last year at the Fantasy Football Expo, and we got to talk to her for about 15 minutes, and I talked about him being a duck-footed prospect and the way that he ran and stuff, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. The Fannon thing scares me because I was actually more out on him even without this. I'm worried about Fannon with all of because he was like I think he's a very, very good player, but he did rely on volume to some degree last year. Like his target share was absurd down the stretch last season when David Njoku went down. And then they add Casey Concepcion, they add Denzel Boston. You know, they have a whole new offense that I do think is helpful for tight ends with Todd Monken, but we don't know exactly how it's going to be deployed. And so when I look at a player like Sam Laporta, who has a very stable environment, and we're drafting in June, and we kind of need the stability a little bit more, with our single digit round picks, I'd be more inclined to go that direction than Harold Fannon, which I think he officially has flipped Harold Fannon in ADP. But regardless, I wasn't really that in on Fannon to begin with, despite loving him long term. And this is just another reason why I'm not going to be in.
When I've gotten the first pick, there is just, it seems like on a platter, that Detroit Chicago stack, of which I've been sliding Laporta in there quite a bit. So I'm right there with you.
Yeah. All right. Well, we do have a guest for today's show. It's one that I've had on each year, one that I've gotten to know through Best Ball and through doing this show. And, I've hopped on stream with him in the past, but it's Liam Murphy. He's another big Best Ball winner, as we had last week with Pat Kerrane. He's from beatbestball.com. He also has his YouTube channel at Chess Liam. He's a chess instructor, like a chess teacher. So he knows what he's doing with that game as well. But I talked to Liam about the current meta, why I think this is the most interesting part with Liam, why he likes 2 quarterback builds more than most people. So you guys will get some insight into that, which I thought was interesting. His tight end approach, so much more. It was a great conversation. So without further ado, here's my chat with Liam Murphy.
For adults with Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms, every choice matters. Tremfya offers self-injection or intravenous infusion from the start. Tremfya is administered as injections under the skin or infusions through a vein every 4 weeks, followed by injections under the skin every 4 or 8 weeks. If your doctor decides that you can self-inject Tremfya, proper training is required. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions, increased risk of infections or lower ability to fight them, and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or need a vaccine. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
Unlock the savings at Boost Mobile and save up to $600 a year. I've been scouting these big carriers for a minute now, and I've seen them pull the same play 1,000 times. They promise you the world, then hit you with a price hike right when the game gets tight. But Boost Mobile, their $25 a month unlimited wireless plan is the most consistent player on the floor. No contracts, no price hikes. Unlock the savings today at boostmobile.com/unlock. Based on average annual single line payment of AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile customers compared to 12 months of the Boost Mobile unlimited wireless plan as of January 2026. For full offer details, visit boostmobile.com.
All right, Liam. So as you look at the best ball landscape right now, specifically over on DraftKings, what's one of the biggest differences that you see year over year? Do you think that it's the same that we're seeing year over year? Are there major differences, or do you think it's mostly what we saw last year?
No, it's major differences, and I think that's a fun puzzle piece, right? Like for the past couple of years, I would say the market has mostly remained the same. And it's not really clear to me exactly why we're seeing these wide market changes, but the market is very different, specifically at running back and quarterback, I would say. Mm-hmm. Running back, since BBM2, so that's 2021, since 2020, we have not seen running backs this expensive in drafts. And with quarterback, like you used to be able to get like CJ Stroud or the other rookie guys who went literally second in the draft. They would be like 18th round draft picks.
Right.
Or you think of Matt Stafford last year and he was whatever, like a 15th round pick, especially after the back stuff. Or Daniel Jones was like a 17th round pick. Even the stinkers of the quarterbacks like Geno, Rodgers, Mendoza, I'm looking at a high stakes draft I did yesterday on DraftKings. They're gone by the 14th round. So the true stinkers are like job security guys, the Atlanta quarterbacks, the Browns quarterbacks. Like it's way different there. And then of course at running back, we got about 5 running backs, maybe 6 consistently going in the first round. We have not seen that forever. And even like the dead zone guys of yesteryear, that's probably like the 5th round to the 10th round, where like some of these guys are going to be big hits, and I like some of them. So I'm talking anyone from like Swift Scatabo down to Dobbins, White, or whatever, whatever range you want to say there. Some of them can be big hits. Some of them are going to be silent killers, maybe Chuba, like some of these guys I'm softer on, but that's what I'm seeing. What about you?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the big thing that kind of a continuation, like a trend, you know, like it was happening a little bit last year, and now it's just continued, as the quarterback thing that you mentioned, where I guess my question back to you about the quarterback stuff is that you now are seeing those lower end QB2s, mid-range QB2s being pushed up, right? They're being drafted earlier. Is that making you want to get the elite quarterbacks more? Because obviously, if you can't get the value as late, that would mean getting the value early is a little bit easier to swallow, you know, just given the cost of that. And then on top of that, I talked to Pat Kerrane last week, who was very much fading Josh Allen given the cost. And so this plays into that, right? Where if some of these quarterbacks are going a little bit earlier and you're not able to get a guy in round 18 that you were able to get 2 or 3 years ago, does that make you lean into the Josh Allen thing more?
Yeah, I saw that question on the sheet, and I think it should be brought up now, so I'm happy you did that. You know, like the consensus thought process is you have to get 3 quarterbacks. You need 3 quarterbacks in every draft, and you need it by X round or whatever. And I think that is so misguided and just reacting to last year and lacks all context, where, again, the reason why 3 quarterback hit is because you could literally get Matt Stafford, Daniel Jones. Like, these were the cheap bets you could get. Okay. These were the guys you could get at the end of drafts. Jackson Dart, guys who were legit top 5 quarterback options in fantasy for weeks at a time. And now the late round options are Geno Smith, Aaron Rodgers, Tua, Mendoza, Brissett. Like, ask yourself, are these guys going to hit in the way that Stafford did? Are they going to hit in the way that Daniel Jones did? And like, to me, the answer is obviously no. Maybe you could say, like, if anyone is, it's going to be Mendoza because he was a high draft pick. So sure, like that's a mystery box that I'm willing to do. So I don't feel compelled to do 3 quarterback in every draft. Like, I'm comfortable to get 2 by the like Baker Mayfield line, depending. So I'll go as thin as like Goff and Baker, or you know, Kyler Murray and Bo Nix. Some combo of this. Not saying I won't take a 3rd quarterback, but I'm not so stringent where it's like, I need my 3rd quarterback. And then, yeah, of course, like, I think it's very short-sighted to view Josh Allen and be like, he's a fade. Like, I think it's pretty easily level 1 thinking, where you look at Josh Allen, he goes in the 3rd. And I'll admit, there's no real rhyme or reason why he should have such a gap on Lamar, Joe Burrow, maybe some of these Drake Mays, Jaden Daniels, Dak, Caleb Williams guys who go in the 5th through 6th.
Yeah.
But what you should be thinking through is like, what's the cost of the stack? So if we look at Josh Allen and like, let's just pick Drake May. Okay. So AJ Brown and Drake May, you got to burn a 2nd round pick to get AJ Brown, where Josh Allen and DJ Moore, or Josh Allen, Dalton Kincaid, whatever, like, you're getting a 2nd round player instead of AJ Brown. So I don't really think it's that expensive of a price to spend on Josh Allen. And it honestly just doesn't even really matter where it's like, look, if you want a full fade a player, that's a variance question. That's a risk tolerance question. To me, I think it's obviously no. I'm out at Josh Allen at a second round cost. Like that to me is just a little ridiculous. But I was doing a 5.55 yesterday. He fell to me to the back of the third. Sometimes he goes to the fourth. I think it's a no-brainer to mix him in there, especially because you should be asking yourself, like, can this be a guy you need to win the contest?
Yeah.
And the answer is so obviously yes, where he gets the Dolphins. Like, can Josh Allen drop 40 against the Dolphins? Yes. Is that pretty realistic? Yes. Right?
Yeah.
So, to me, I'm not fading him. And then to your point, when I get Josh Allen, yeah, I can just take Josh Allen, Malik Willis, Josh Allen, Tyler Shuck, Josh Allen, CJ Stroud, and I don't need to fool around in this like round 7 to 11 range where a lot of people are going 3 quarterback.
What do you think your portfolio will end up as when you look at 2 versus 3 quarterback builds? Like how just so people listening would like have an idea of where your head's at with sort of the proportion of the two.
I generally lean 2 QB. It's worse for advance rate, but it's like I don't care about advance rate as much as other people. Like I'm okay rolling up in December and people making fun of me and being like, he only advanced 23 teams. Like I'm not playing for looking good week 15. I'm playing what I think is optimal to win the contest. And so, yeah, I will do 3 quarterback when it makes sense. Like say I have a Cardinal Tate and I already have Dart and Love and Cam Ward's there. Yeah, I'll take him, but I'm not going to pass him if I think there's a literal difference maker at the position. Like I'm looking to go 3 quarterback more when it's like I have Malik Willis, Tyler Shuck. Yes, I really want a third on that because it's all like kind of mystery boxy. Right. I personally like the Malik Willis bet, but it is uncertain. Yeah. So I lean more to QB, and I don't know exactly. Like I'm also not such a nerd with it where I'm like, I have 18% 3. Like I'm just drafting each draft. And that's why best ball is great. It's like you draft, you're done. Let's find out who wins at the end of the year. Like I'm not using a caddy. I'm not going through, like I know roughly who I'm taking and who I'm not.
When you refer to the playoff weeks, right, and you refer to the 2 quarterback build versus 3 quarterback, is that something that you are saying I have outs at wide receiver, running back in a stack that other people might not because they spent that on a that pick on a quarterback instead of boosting up or bolstering that, or just another running back and wide receiver that could potentially hit? Or is it a larger roster construction thing also where that if the meta right now is 3 quarterback and that a lot of these teams are 3 quarterback, you just have an inherent edge because there's just a different roster construction that you're using once you get to the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it does boil down to my core philosophy is hitting a difference maker at a skill position is more important than having a third quarterback.
Okay.
And so, yeah, look, does it suck when one of your quarterback gets hurt or both get hurt and you got a dead team? Sure. But you think of the guys who make you win this contest, having another shot at getting Rashad Penny that year, Amon-Ra St. Brown his rookie year. These are the things to me that decide who wins the contest and who doesn't. And we do see quarterbacks separate at times, of course. And so, yeah, technically you'll have another shot of that if you tack on Tua. But again, like I'm not panicked with it. Like as long as I have 2 guys, I feel reasonable. And it comes back to me from like your home league. Like pretend you have a home league, you have a good team, and your only quarterback is Jordan Love. You're not feeling like your team is like dead each week, right? Like, yeah, okay, you're not feeling great, but you got Jordan Love, you got a second guy, reasonable, right? But yeah, I do want to have more shots at landing the difference maker, which to me comes at running back and wide out.
Okay. And then the as you noted at the top, how running back seems to be, it's funny because like in season long itself, like not best ball, I think it's more or less the same of what we've seen. But I also think that part of the best ball thing, maybe you would agree or disagree, but I think there's at least part of this is like the narrative of the tout, where like touts over the, maybe not last year as much, but definitely the year before that and the year before that were super 0 RB heavy, right? Like very much so. That was the mindset that a lot of touts were going with. And I think that part of the narrative too here is that like touts are not doing that as much and like they're more open to more robust running back builds. Like I think that is kind of fueling what this meta has become, which is, going more running back heavy. Stemming from that, let's just assume that like it's super running back heavy, and like it gets more running back heavy as the summer goes on, and like that's the way that the drafts are unfolding. Is this a season then where you want to zig while others are zagging, and you actually want to lean into a 0 RB build more?
So I always try to do a mix of builds every year, right? Like I don't want to go all 0 RB in a year. I don't want to go all hero running back in a year. I think to your point, yeah, a lot of touts probably drafted 0 RB and did bad, and that felt bad. And so they're changing that. But no, I think also to your point, yes, this is a great year to go 0 RB, where definitions on that like mix.
Yes,
right?
I know. It drives me nuts.
So it's like, what is zero running back to you? Is it Tony Pollard as your RB1? Right. Is it Rachaad White as your RB1? Like those are two different things,
100%.
Yeah.
To
some people, it's like Travis Etienne as their RB1. It's like, dude, you took him in the 3rd round. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
But like, let's say, I think to most people, first running back around round 7, which would be the Warren, Stevenson,
0 RB.
Harvey range. Like there are guys to like in that range. I also like Kenneth Gainwell. I like the Steelers guys, Jonathan Brooks. So I mix up my builds, and my ranks almost always lean more wide receiver heavy, where it's just hard for Darius Slayton to turn into Jamar Chase.
Yeah, right.
It's not that hard for Jordan Mason with volume to turn in 20 points per game. We saw that last year when Aaron Jones got hurt. And so, yeah, I mix it up, but I do think to your point, it's a good year to do the 0 RB, especially because running back prices are more expensive and less people are doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been trying to, the other thing too, is that when you mix up strategies, this is what I've experienced, at least in doing more of the max entering and playing a lot more over the last couple of years. When you do differing strategies, you're getting exposure to different players just naturally, right? Like that to me screwed me a couple of years ago, was that I was going more 0 RB heavy, which I think, yes, it was a good year for going not 0 RB, but at the same time, more so in my opinion, it's that you're getting certain exposure to the same players over and over again, as opposed to having the right mix of players, right? Just naturally based on that strategy. And I think that also is like an untalked about part of being a little bit more flexible with the strategy overall.
That's a great point, and I can think of a couple examples that highlight that. Like one of the years where Nico Collins was a big hit, he was around like 10 or 11 wide receiver. And as someone who was drafting a lot of 0 RB, I thought I had my wide receivers checked. So who am I taking in those rounds? I'm taking running backs. So I'm missing on the Nico. Same thing this year, where again, I would say my teams are more wide receiver heavy. I'm not getting as much of the Jaden Higgins of the world, who I find a reasonable bet. But like when I need to take a running back and it's kind of like the last guys you feel good about, I'm just inherently getting a little bit less of that if I'm going heavy wide receiver. So if Jaden Higgins is a big hit, I'm not missing it because I dislike Jaden Higgins. I actually kind of like the bet. I'm missing it because of my build. So yeah, I think that's a great point. We're mixing up the builds. You go 4 RBs heavy. Now you're just getting different types of players because they live in different pockets of the draft.
It even extends to quarterback stuff too, right? Because if you're not, like, let's say you're not getting Josh Allen and you aren't in a position very frequently to get like a Lamar or, that 5-6 range. And then all of a sudden, like we know there's, I think that like from a value perspective, we would probably, a lot of people would agree that like towards the end of the single digit rounds, into the double, where you see that like giant pocket of quarterbacks go, you're probably double tapping frequently in a lot of drafts. You're probably going, and you're doing that more frequently if you don't get Josh Allen, if you don't get Lamar Jackson. And then all of a sudden I noticed this like fortunately pretty early on in like what my portfolio was looking like, but I was like, man, I like these running backs and wide receivers in this range, but I'm not getting them. Yeah, I'm not getting them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to stop doing this, because now all of a sudden, like my Kenneth Gainwell exposure or my Jonathan Brooks exposure, when I love Brooks, I love the Brooks bet this year, right?
Or Worthy, like, wow, or Pittman or Pierce, like whoever there for you.
Exactly. Yeah. And like that, all of a sudden you're like, holy crap, I don't have the right mix of players right now just because I'm not doing that other thing. And so there's other ways of getting around. Like if you want a full fade Josh Allen, or if that's like what your mission is this year, just keep that in mind. Like keep that part in mind, as you're.
And that's why I say it's short-sighted to fade Josh Allen, because it doesn't realize like what we're diving into in the more deeper like, exposure questions here. Like to me, okay, Caleb Williams, Drake May, it feels like we're crowning them a little bit early, or maybe we're undervaluing them, whatever. Like to me, they feel like I'm confused why Jackson Dart is 4 rounds cheaper than them, who had a bunch of good fantasy games, runs the ball. But I simply am going to take them sometimes just to get exposure to them.
Yeah.
And so to your point, I'm now taking more of the running back, wide receivers, tight ends in that round 8 through 9. And I don't want to be the guy every 8 and 9. This is where I get my quarterbacks because that's what's best for advance rate. It's like, you're not thinking about how do you win.
Yeah. It's the difference between doing a lot of drafts and 2 drafts. For like if I was doing like
through a volume,
right.
Exposure.
Right. If I'm doing 5 best ball drafts, I'm probably okay.
Get
with
your
just
guys.
being like,
hey, get your home team guys.
Yeah,
get a player's jersey you have.
Yeah, right. That's my pocket of quarterbacks. I'll get those there, and I'll do that in all 5 drafts. But if you're listening to this and you're doing 50 plus, 100 plus, 200 plus teams, then and drafts, then I would advise to probably mix up the strategy portion of things. And I would argue it might even like lean quarterback more than the other strategies, because even when you go 0 RB and even when you go robust RB, you at least can like you're getting 5 plus 6 plus of a certain position usually, right? Of the running back and wide receiver. But like a quarterback, you're getting 2 or 3. And so if you're not getting one at that point in time, then you're running the risk of then them drying out and you not have, so like you're feeling forced to get them in that range. And so like you can at least get those other running back and wide receivers in round 9, in round 10, if you go 0 RB or if you go robust RB. But if you're going non-early round quarterback all the time, then you're really running into a wall in terms of not getting exposure to those players. So
yeah, it doesn't feel good when you take Josh Allen and then quarterbacks start falling past ADP. But what happens way more, especially on DK, is like you take Josh Allen and then 3 drafters take 4 quarterbacks. And now you're like, oh my God, I'm sitting pretty where
great value.
I just spent like a 3rd or 4th, whatever. All I got to fade is like, Tet McMillan or Ibuka or someone like this being the guy you need this year.
Right.
But I'm able to take my QB2, not stress it, while other people are taking now Aaron Rodgers in the 10th round because they're reacting to what the room is doing.
For adults with Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms, every choice matters. Tremfya offers self-injection or intravenous infusion from the start. Tremfya is administered as injections under the skin or infusions through a vein every 4 weeks, followed by injections under the skin every 4 or 8 weeks. If your doctor decides that you can self-inject Tremfya, proper training is required. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions, increased risk of infections or lower ability to fight them, and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or need a vaccine. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
You're locked into a lot of things you can't change. Weather, traffic. Hey, stay in your lane! Your wireless carrier's latest price hike. But you can unlock a better way. Unlock the savings at Boost Mobile and save up to $600 a year. Switch to the $25 a month unlimited wireless plan. No contracts, no price hikes, and you keep your phone. Stop being locked into their games. Unlock the savings at boostmobile.com/unlock. Based on average annual single line of payment of AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile customers compared to 12 months on the Boost Mobile unlimited wireless plan as of January 2026. For full offer details, visit boostmobile.com.
One of the big talking points that I talked to Davis a little bit about this on his show. He seemed to not be nearly as concerned this year about Week 17 and Week 17 matchups, at least compared to previous seasons. Is that something that you have started to fade more, or is it something that you're leaning into more? How are you looking at Week 17?
Week 17 remains important to me. I have not really changed how I approach it. I do not force it in every single draft. Mm-hmm. There are some drafts where I simply take guys who I think are good bets. However, that also kind of ties into like me just trying to pick individual gems from Week 17 games I like. Yeah. Like I want a piece of Jaguars Commanders. I want a piece of Cowboys Giants. So even when I'm not doing a full game stack, I'm still, week 17 is still top of mind because I believe it's very important.
Yeah.
And there are lots of teams where I try to get a lot of week 17 mini correlation, breaking ties. And most of the teams I've won contests with have had something like 10 to 12 plus players week 17 mini correlation. And it's another good way just to vary your bets, like, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you have Jaden Reed. Oh, I take Jaden Higgins instead of Jalen Coker because they play week 17,
Right.
things like that.
Yeah. That's kind of how I've approached it as well. I mean, it helped me. Like, I feel like once you experience it helping you too, anecdotally, you're like, okay, I see this, right? Like I see this. And that's what it did for me last year in week 17. It's like, I get, like, you can fully understand and grasp why you're making those correlated bets in that week, because obviously that's the money week and you set yourself.
And there's simply some years there's going to be games you have to have
right
to win. And that's not guaranteed. It could be that there's a bunch of evenish games.
Yeah.
And you could get there a lot of ways, but more often than not, there's going to be a game you need. And also, although the finals field is big, about 1,000 players, you do not need a 99.99 percentile outcome. You do not need to beat a million entrants, even though there's a million entrants in the contest. You need to be 12, and then 1,000. And so maybe you can win with a top 85 percentile team, and correlating is a easier way to do that versus picking random players and saying that you have the hand of God and you're picking the nuts.
Yeah.
Which is what you're trying to do if you're trying to beat a million entrants, not 1,000, right?
Yeah, totally. We haven't talked about tight end very much. Are you in or out on elite tight end this year?
It's a very interesting question. And again, I would ask you, like, is elite tight end only McBride and Bowers? Is it down to Loveland to you?
We could put Loveland in there, and even if you want to, even go to Warren if you want to talk about him.
So it's an interesting question to me because, okay, yes, I'm drafting them, especially McBride, who falls to the third round. Like, I kind of like some offenses who just have, like, I call it the stink. Like, the Cardinals stink, the Jets stink, the Browns stink. Like, people are too confident that these teams stink. Yeah, they're probably not going to be great, but you're also getting a discount on the players because of this.
Right.
And so I do want Bowers, McBride, Loveland, simply because you might need them, and it gives you the flexibility to do weirder lineup constructions. Like, you can take Bowers and only one other tight end and then just have extra shots at running back or wide receiver. At the same time, though, I really like this Dalton Kincaid, Travis Kelce, Goddard, Ferguson range. And then even cheaper, I think the Chig, Juwan, Brenton Strange, Kenyon Sadiq, this type of range is reasonable. And of course, at the end of the draft, you even have like the Mike Gesicki's, Pat Fryer. Like, there's a lot of, every single year, there's a lot of tight ends to sell yourself on. There are going to be years you need an elite tight end to win. So I do mix it up. Like, if I was just trying to advance teams, I would pass on them because I do think more likely than not, elite tight end is worse for your advance rates for best ball because, you know, you're passing on elite running backs and wideouts, and it's very easy to take 3 random guys and cobble together 12 points a week, right?
Sure.
But I'm trying to win. So do I think Colston Loveland could be the guy you need against the Lions week 17? I do. Do I think Bowers could be the guy you need? I do. Do I think McBride could be the guy you need? I do. And also, like, hey, if they're just averaging 20 points a game or something, PPR, that helps for advance rates too. So it's kind of like it's a win-win where it's like, if they're bad for advancing, they're going to be more unique. If they're good for advancing, cool, I'm advancing more teams. So I'm always into elite tight end, but yeah, there's a lot of guys to like throughout there.
So in those early rounds, is there a pick that you're going to be heaviest on this year that you look at and you feel immensely confident?
There's a couple I feel in my bones. One, I'll go, you know, I guess early. What are we calling early? We calling early round 5+, round 3+?
Let's go 3+.
Okay. Round 3+, let's go with Jeremiah Love.
Okay.
To me, dude went 3rd in the draft. I understand it's a worse draft class than normal, but this is the cheapest we've had a generational running back prospect ever be.
Yeah.
In a market where running backs are more expensive than ever.
It's true.
So to me, that's just like a close your eyes and let the chips fall as they may. I'll bet on the ultra talented guy while everyone else is just saying Cardinals have to stink. Probably has a tough schedule during the regular season, But once he gets to the playoffs, he has a pretty tasty schedule, culminating with the Raiders week 17. So even if it's kind of tough sledding, especially on DK where it's PPR, I just like his ability to get catches. I like his ability to be a home run hitter. It's a running back bet I actually like. And it's like, it seems kind of crazy to me that you can go like Love and he'll fall to the end of the third sometimes.
It's crazy.
So you can go Love there. And then within a round, you got Javonte Williams, which is like, or, it's like kind of like
an inspiring play.
Yeah, like plotters. Like, you're trying to get 15 points a game. Like Jeremiah Love is a swing at true league winning upside, even though his team is not good.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that pick. What about some players that you're looking at late in drafts that you, I feel like, I don't know. I talked to Crane about this a little bit. I've mentioned this on the show in general. It feels like a weaker year in the late rounds right now. Now, it could just be I'm living in the moment right now and it's June and more players are going to emerge and we're going to feel better about them when we start to understand situation a little bit more. But, Crane brought it up and I agree with him where it's like, also this rookie class is not that strong. It's not very deep. And so all of a sudden, you don't have the same like day 2 wide receiver bets that you usually feel good about. There weren't as many day 2 running backs either that would push players down and then you get better rookies late then. Do you agree? Maybe you disagree. And then are there any players that you're drafting frequently late right now?
Okay. So I'd disagree in a sense where from a certainty angle may be true, but late round picks are always certain, but I'm going to list some names here and we know what these guys can be. So I actually think it's an incredibly unique year where we are potentially drafting league winners. And I'm going to say Tank Dell, Brandon Ayuk, Tyreek Hill, these types of guys who were they're not all of them are not 35, right? Yeah. Like they're young, they're coming off injury, they have varying degrees of whatever going on. Travis Hunter. So we're drafting ultra talented guys late in drafts. And in June, in May, I'm into it. I'm into risking the 0 for what Brandon Ayuk could be on the Commanders. Tyreek Hill, that one's a little tougher for me because I do have some of him, but still it just seems like he's like super injured. So I'm taking the risk on these guys. And it's not going to feel good if they're all zeros. I'm not doing it in every draft, but I'm generally interested in doing the Tank, Ayuk, especially Ayuk. Like I'm in on the Ayuk thing. I know it can be bad. I feel like we're going to get like how I think it's going to go is he's going to show up in August, get cut and signed to the Commanders. And it's Terry and Brandon Ayuk for the Commanders, Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know how healthy he is. Like, I'm not a doctor. I'm not grinding his Instagram videos, but I think he's going to play, man.
And not only that, but I think, this is something that I've definitely played into more when you draft more teams and stuff. But like the CLV that you can get on some of these guys that are more ambiguous, right? That we know, like Stephon Diggs is like we saw with Keenan Allen last year.
I like that bet a lot.
Like it's this idea that Keenan Allen last season was a free agent. Everyone's like, oh, he didn't even sign.
J.K. Dobbins, I was smashing this time of year because people were like, oh, is he going to sign?
Right. And like Dobbins found a good spot and he rose a lot. And then Allen, the initial instinct with him was like, this isn't like the greatest spot in the world for Keenan Allen to thrive. Even still, his ADP went up like 5 rounds, And like it feels like that's going to happen with each of these guys. Imagine if Ayuk signs with the Commander or gets traded or something.
Where will he go? Like legit, where will he go in drafts? I think he's going to go, like if we get a positive reports, he's probably going around like the DK Metcalf, Chris Godwin range, right? Like, it's not going to go there day one, but
right. Like it could gradually get to that point. Yes.
Yeah. Like that would be peak. People would be like, oh, okay. And so I don't know if I really want to be doing that. And so I'm happy to take. And again, I don't want every single team to have a potentially dead Ayuk on it, but I think you're kind of silly if you're a volume drafter not drafting them because to me, like when I first started playing best ball, I think one of the worst feelings in the world for me personally would be only drafting in August and knowing that there's 17th round Brandon Ayuk teams out there that I don't get a chance to get.
Yeah.
Like I'd be like, I don't like that,
Yeah. And it
So I
might
want them now.
and it might not work, right? It might not pan out, but that's the expected value, equation you're running through in your head whenever you're making that pick.
And ultimately, a couple zeros are not going to kill you anyway. So it's like,
right.
if I use a zero and I've built a team, especially a team that maybe there's different sides of coin for like, what's a good time of year to go RB heavy, zero RB? I would say early, like right now is a good time to go RB heavy because you don't have to wade through the uncertainty. Like you don't have to wade through the uncertainty of like, oh, is it Emmett Johnson? Is it Nick Singleton? Is it Emmanuel Wilson? Is whatever. Like,
yeah.
On the other side of the coin, it can be a good time to go zero RB because Saquon Barkley tears his ACL 2 weeks from now. Where's Tank Bigsby going in drafts, right? Like we know he's going to be a 3rd round pick. So that will not feel good not having exposure to that when he was a 18th round pick or whatever. So
yeah,
like, and we've had like people are very reactive to what's worked in the past and bad at adding context. We've had very healthy off seasons for running backs in particular for a couple years running now. And that eventually is not going to be the case.
Yeah. Yeah. At least to this degree for sure. All right. Before I let you go, give me a fire take. Give me a bold proclamation about what could go down here in 2026.
Okay. I got 2 for you.
Okay.
Jaguar, Smith, and Jigba, Parker Washington, top 12 wide receiver this year.
There we go.
Brock Purdy, MVP, with Mike Evans coming in with 10 plus touchdowns, 1,300 plus yards. I like both these bets, Mike Evans, Parker Washington. The Washington one is just like, I look at what he did last year and having watched those games, the dude was legit torching people.
Oh, he's amazing. Yeah, he's great.
So people could say it was because of Brian Thomas Jr. was hurt and Hunter was hurt. All true, but also the dude is legit good in my opinion. And I just don't see him going from what he was doing, including the real NFL playoffs, to being a stone zero. So sure, I want to be taking Brian Thomas Jr. as well in case it was all injury and we get back this Brian Thomas Jr. rookie year thing. And then the Mike Evans thing is like last year I tweeted out like people don't understand Matt Stafford could win the MVP this year. And this was during him going in and out of the cryo chamber. And why did I feel that way? I felt that way because Devontae Adams was in town, and that is a whole nother calculus. Mike Evans coming to the 49ers gives me just different feel. Like this could be the year where Purdy just throws 6 red zone touchdowns to Mike Evans on top of what he'll usually get. You got questionable talent around Mike Evans. We don't know what Kittle will be. We don't know when Kittle will play. CMC is getting older. We don't know how good Ricky Pearsall is. I do believe Purdy is good, and I believe in Big Mike, if he stays healthy, could legit smash.
Yeah, I like it. Liam, this was great. Let everyone know where they can find you, your YouTube channel, where you're drafting, all that.
Yeah, you can search me up on YouTube, Liam Murphy. I am not the runner in college. I am, or the guy with the dogs. They have more subs than me, but I do best ball. And beatbestball.com is where I do my fantasy football write-ups and whatnot.
Awesome. Make sure you're checking out the new lateround.com, the members hub, the draft guide, pre-order that thing. That's going to be live on July 10th, a little bit later this year, but there's been a lot going on with Late Round Fantasy Football. So check it out, lateround.com. Otherwise, everyone, thanks for tuning in.
We learned how to love dogs from the dogs that loved us and waited for us to get home from school. They were the dogs that raised us. We returned the love with Pedigree dog food. It was good then. It's better now. For 40 years, Pedigree has been bringing out the goodness in dogs. Every bowl serves up 100% of the nutrition your dog needs, supporting 6 health essentials. That's the Pedigree Goodness Promise. Pedigree. Good then, better now.
When you're a maintenance engineer in a beverage manufacturing plant, you keep production lines moving and quality on track because there's no room for slowdowns. With Grainger's vast selection of high-quality motors, sensors, belts, and hard-to-find parts, you can get what you need fast and all in one place, so nothing gets in the way of getting the job done. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed Human.